my name's Stephanie. I am a mom to 3 girls, and I am homeschooling my oldest currently. She is going to be 4 in a couple weeks, and we are going to be starting her pre-K 4 year. In this video, I want to talk about all the things that I plan to use right now going into her pre-K 4 year, and how we're going to be doing them and going from there. Let's get started. We're going to get started with her core subjects, and then I'll go over what we are doing for our supplemental, kind of a combination of like social studies, science, all of that stuff that we're going to be doing for fun. My soon-to-be 2-year-old will also be joining us, I think, for a lot of the more like social studies content and doing what she can of what we're doing with that. But let's get into the heavy stuff first. We're going to go over what we are doing for math and ELA going into this year. We are finishing up Preschool Math at Home by Kate Snow. And we have a couple more units left in this. And so we're going to start her pre-K 4 year finishing up with the Preschool Math at Home and just making sure I'm confident in how she's doing with all of these subjects and she's confident in all of these topics. And then we are going to go into Math with Confidence K. So I really like pre-K math at home, and my daughter has been really liking preschool math at home. So I think she's going to enjoy the letter K math. And I know she's only 4, so I'm not in a rush to finish this by any means. We're going to take it nice and slow. And yeah, so I'm excited to get started with this, but I really want to make sure math is something I tend to be very strong in math. I like math. I enjoy math. I was always good at math, and I want to make sure my kids like math, even if they are not math inclined. I really want it to be a subject that they enjoy doing. So I don't want to rush her in math. So I know this is a kindergarten program, but knowing that we finished pre-K math at home and she's doing pretty good with those topics so far, I feel pretty confident moving into Math with Confidence. Okay, so that is what we're going to do for math. I may bring in some like supplemental math worksheets to add into this and slow us down and repeat a couple topics before we move on like too quickly. I'm not concerned with her like rushing through her math. So I may find some stuff on Teachers Pay Teachers or just worksheets online or make them myself. But that's primarily what we're doing for math. So for language arts, we've been doing Playing Preschool this year, and so we have gone through all of the letters once already. We are going to be doing All About Reading, and this is the pre-reading, and so it goes through letter by letter. They do separate. You do all the capital letters first, and then you do all of the lowercase letters, and then you do letter sounds. So I haven't totally made a decision on how I'm going to do this because we have already gone through all of the letters once with Playing Preschool. So what I think I'm going to do is kind of do uppercase, lowercase, and sound together. So kind of like jump around in the lessons in here. And I've seen a couple of things where people say, like, you can do that. And I've seen other things where people say, don't do that. But I'm going to look through it a little bit more. So we're going to start her pre-K 4 year in a little bit later in July. So I still have a couple weeks, and I do really want to dive into this and see how I'm going to jump around in that and see how that's going to work before I fully commit. We may do it straight through, do all the capitals, lowers, and then sounds. That might be a good like spiral refresher for her. We will see. But that comes with this. And then I don't have them with me. I did get the readers, and then the book of letters activity book that goes with that. I didn't get the whole kit, so I don't have the letter chart, and I think they have flashcards, and then the Ziggy Zebra. We have a zebra puppet, so I'm just going to use our zebra puppet that we already own. I ended up getting this on, I believe, Thrift Books or some website where I could separate it and only buy those two. And then I bought the readers on Thrift Books. So I do have the readers that go with this, and then I have the book of letters. But as far as like the chart, I am just going to print out an alphabet chart. And we do our alphabet song every morning anyway. So we are going to stick with the alphabet song that way. And then we'll use her letter chart that she already uses in the mornings when we need the letter chart for this program. Next, so in addition to my book of letters, and I'm not totally sure how I'm going to incorporate this all together yet, but I also purchased Get Ready for the Code. So from Explode the Code, and this is really cute. I like this a lot. I would say the only thing is it obviously doesn't go in the order that All About Reading does. So I'm really going to take a look at these two and see where I want to supplement and how I want to supplement. We may switch to focusing on Get Set for the Code and supplementing with All About Reading. I might do it that way. Not totally sure, but I have both of those programs. So I have our All About Reading and I have our Explode the Code, and those are going to be what we are using for language arts primarily. And just again, so same with Math with Confidence. We are still in pre-K 4, so I'm in no rush with her to like have anything done super quickly. We can take it slow still, and I just want to make sure she has a good solid base and understanding before we go into her kindergarten year, and that's kind of what we are doing with both of these programs. And if we don't finish them in this pre-K 4 year, that is okay, because we can continue them into next summer. I do plan on homeschooling year round, so I can continue them into the summer, and then we can even continue them into the beginning of next year, because it will still be her K year, and these programs are all still appropriate to do in kindergarten. So I'm not super concerned about how quickly we get them done. I'm more concerned about how well she's doing with them. In addition to those, we also have a handwriting program. So I was all set to get handwriting without tears. Everyone talks about handwriting without tears. It seems like a great program. However, I saw a couple reviews where people said that the way they do the lines is they have an upper and a lower and no dashed middle, or they had the dashed middle but no upper, something like that. And I saw it when I was looking at it also. So I decided to go with a different program because of how they do their lines. So they have like that upper line, the middle dash line, and the lower line. And so right now my daughter is pretty good at tracing a letter. She has some trouble with like sequencing of what she should do first, second, and third when writing out a letter. And she has difficulty with like understanding the difference in like the big space, the middle line, and like what goes below and what goes above. So I did want to make sure we had a program that had all three of those lines available to her so that we could really understand that and grasp that concept before we moved on to something else. So the other thing that I think I'm going to do with this, so just so we do have a lot of practice, is I likely will photocopy the pages so that we can do them more than once if we need to. So this is the handwriting learning manuscript letters. We also, before we get into that, we are going to do the handwriting reading and writing readiness. So this is a lot of just drawing straight lines. I think there's some stuff in here with some shapes and coloring. So we are going to do this to prepare for handwriting, and this is how we're going to start the year. And then when she finishes this, we will move into the manuscript handwriting. Okay, so that is it for what we were doing for math and language arts. Next, we are going to get into what our year is going to look like social studies and sciences wise. So I am super excited for this. I feel like homeschooling moms, we all like, yes, we have our math and our language arts programs, and we're picky about what ones we do, but I feel like we all thrive on like, what is that other thing that we are bringing in to like fill our education, you know, like we love like the history, we love the science. I love just like, I'm so excited for her to learn like all of the things. So I'm really excited. I decided to get the whole Me and My collection from Little School of Smiths. So we are going to start with Me and My Family Tree. And then the book is in the other room, so I'm not going to grab it right now. We have the Me on the Map book. We're going to go into the Me on the Map program from Little Schoolsmiths. And then we are going to go into the Me and My Place in Space from Little Schoolsmiths. And then we are going to do Me and My Amazing Body from Little Schoolsmiths. So we are going to go through all those programs. I have all 4 of these books. And yeah, I am super excited. And so there's a little bit of science, a little bit of social studies, a little bit of geography in them. So for example, for me and my family tree, this is more like social sciences and social studies. I'm going to supplement a little bit in this week that we do this with like some tree science stuff and just some nature study. When we do the Me on the Map, I'm going to see how I can kind of bring in some sciences about our local area and most likely more of like a nature study around when we do that. And then obviously Me and My Place in Space is already basically a science curriculum, learning your place in space. I'm going to try to bring in some social, some history stuff about that and like who went to the moon, when we went to the moon, that kind of stuff. And then Me and My Amazing Body, obviously about themselves and their body. That is mostly anatomy. I'm not quite sure how I'm going to bring in some social studies to this, but I'm going to try to. So, yeah, so that is what we're going to do. This, I think, will carry us through the whole year. If it doesn't, I have a plan for what I want to do after this. And then that plan is what I had planned for her K year. But again, like it's ever evolving. Obviously, she may not like doing this, or she may not like a certain thing, or I might discover that she's not going to like something that I have planned. And the beauty of homeschooling is that you can always change. So this is pretty much my plan for the year as far as these subjects go. But again, I am willing to change things. Same as I did with playing preschool, I was pretty dedicated to using that program. And then it just was not working for us. So I supplemented and stuff where I needed to. And that's my plan going forward in her pre-K 4 year also. So one last thing that we are going to do is along with these, I am going to bring in some of like some additional riches, as Charlotte Mason would call them, into our day on to supplement these as a separate part of our day. So I still want to do an artist study and a composer study. However, I want to do them along the lines that correlate with each of these programs. So for example, we are doing the Me and My Family Tree first. So I have the riches for the most part planned for this. And I'm going to do, for Spanish, we're going to focus on like family and learning different words for family in Spanish. Same in ASL. And then we are going to, for our composer study, we are actually going to listen to the music from Encanto. And we're going to focus on Encanto for our music for this book. And then we're going to do Eric Carle for our artist study that week. I just wanted to keep the artist study and the composer study a little bit more loose when they're this age. So through this whole thing, I think I am going to focus on Disney composers for our composer study. And then we are going to focus on young, bright, colorful artists for our artist study. And then let me just double check. I think that is everything that I have. Yeah, so we're supplementing with music from Encanto, and then family members is going to be our Spanish. So we're not doing a formal Spanish curriculum this year because I think she's still a little young. So we're just introducing fun words and trying to remember them, same as we've done this past year. So this past year, we really spent a lot of time focusing on just like saying hello, colors, and numbers in Spanish. And then going forward, we're going to focus on probably a week to 2 weeks at a time, 4 or 5 different words that relate to whatever we are doing in the Me and My series, and learn Spanish, those in Spanish. And then I'm also going to bring in ASL. So where Spanish and ASL come from, I guess, is we do a co-op every other Monday during the school year. or during the traditional school year. And so that co-op, um, we have someone who teaches Spanish and someone who teaches ASL. So, and it offers Spanish and ASL classes as well. So my plan is to keep us going with Spanish and ASL going forward as our two language focuses, because those are the two that we're going to get supplemented when we're at co-op. So that's how I have that plan going forward for our language choices. If any of my girls find a desire to learn any other language, I have no problem changing that and bringing in a different language for them. But for right now, we're focusing on those two going forward. And I think that is pretty much it for this video. If you want to see what we do, so we also do our ebook cards for social emotional skills and manners, as well as morning calendar, morning alphabet practice. And we do a couple like language songs and that kind of stuff. So if you want to see those things, it was in my last video, which was what worked well for us in the 2025-2026 school year. Those we are just going to keep rolling into the 26-27 school year. So yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment down below. I'd love to chat with anyone. Make sure you subscribe. I'm hoping to put out new videos every week. My plan is on Fridays. We'll see how well that goes. We have a lot going on in life, but yeah, that's my hope. That's my plan. Also, you can follow me on TikTok or Instagram. I am active on both of those platforms as well. And yeah, thanks for watching, guys.